Dear students, good morning. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 14th May 2018. The first article, an open letter to finance ministers. Here, center-state relations can be broadly classified into administrative, legislative, and financial. And administrative legislative relations are normally and obviously filled with politics. But financial relations, by and large, are stable. But there are certain issues of favoritism to certain states. But to an extent, we can say it is a less confrontational area till date. Why? The credibility and respect enjoyed by the financial institutions, especially the Finance Commission. When Planning Commission was there, states have repeatedly complained about the favoritism shown by the Planning Commission to the states which are being ruled by the government at the center. But Finance Commission never faced such allegations. But today, this very federal institution is coming into question. The reasons are terms of reference given to the 15th Finance Commission. It is also seen from a much bigger dimension, that is north-south divide. How it has to be handled is the question here. Let me put this way. The Finance Commission recommendations, by and large, always are accepted by the union government. People of eminence have occupied the seat. So here, vertical devolution, horizontal devolution. The center to states, this devolution is called vertical devolution. Horizontal devolution, it is distribution across the states. So, who are responsible for this vertical devolution and horizontal devolution? It is Finance Commission. So what are the irritants now? The 14th Finance Commission has increased this vertical devolution to 42%. And here we need to understand one thing. Plan and non-plan distinction has ended in India. So, the 14th Finance Commission, it did not take the plan expenditure into consideration. So, plan, non-plan expenditure has ended. That's why the devolution has increased to the states. That is one argument. And the second thing is, the central sponsored schemes and expenditure made by the center on these schemes have drastically reduced. And in this context, the present government, in its terms of reference to the 15th Finance Commission, it stated that this 42% can be decreased. It asked it to review the 14th Finance Commission recommendations. It never happened in the history before. And second, the center is trying to impose its agenda on the states through making this finances as an instrument. Let me put it this way. Financial sphere or space is an example for cooperative federalism. Why? We have designed our tax structure in such a way that center gets more remunerative taxes. States depend upon the center for finances. Center depends on the states for developmental objectives. A mutual kind of interdependency was created. This very interdependency is coming to test now. So what the states argue is, the borrowing powers of the states are being curtailed. The center has asked the Finance Commission to look into the matters of or conditions that has to be imposed on borrowing powers of the state. And then, FRBM Act, what is the fiscal deficit that has to be maintained? That is also a question. So what is the concern of the center over here? Center is trying to regulate its fiscal deficit, but the populistic programs created by the states is creating an indiscipline in financial management. And third thing, what are the populistic programs? And an opinion is asked on these populistic programs. What is a populistic program is a subjective interpretation. So what appears as populistic to someone may appear as necessity to someone else. So from this, in the vertical devolution, the center is trying to take a high-handedness and the rights of the states are being done away with. And most important thing, the Constitution talks about revenue deficit grants. So these revenue deficit grants has to be given or not. Can't we remove them? That's what is another opinion asked by the center to the Finance Commission. Four things majorly. One is revenue deficit grants. The second is 42%, that is review of 14th Finance Commission recommendations. Third, borrowing powers of the states. Fourth is FRBM limitations. So these are all worrisome to the states. And the second is, coming to horizontal distribution, already we spoke about this. 2011 census population, if it is taken into consideration, southern states and certain western states which have effectively worked on the control of the population by implementing the national population policy, they will be at disadvantage. So that is the reason why the southern state finance ministers have met. But however, the participation of the Telangana finance minister and finance minister from Tamil Nadu is missing. It is because of the larger political interests which are involved over there. So, Telangana Chief Minister Mr. K. Chandrasekhar Rao wants to build a non-Congress, non-BJP front. And second, when we go to Tamil Nadu, so AIADMK is seen as the second arm of the BJP today. So, that's where this statement comes up. Political alignment should not come in the way of defending the fiscal rights of the states. There has to be convergence in thought among the states with regard to defending of their rights. That's how this article puts up as. Hezbollah's grip. Lebanon is a unique space with regard to political structure is concerned. Now, if you take in India, any person can become president, prime minister, speaker, etc. But there, the constitutional offices are being divided among the various sects, among various religions. So, president, he will be from Christianity, and then prime minister, I think Sunni, speaker is a Shia. So, Hezbollah, it represents this Shia. So, this Hezbollah is being supported obviously by Iraq. The Sunni faction, it is supported by Saudi Arabia and it carries due importance. So, because of this, in these elections, though Hezbollah got the majority, these positions will go to their respective religions or communities. So, here, there is a proxy war because the Syrian war is expected to slip into Lebanon too. The reason is because of the massive flow of immigrants from Syria, the government is fast losing its control. And then the crisis which is developing in West Asia because of the withdrawal of the United States from Iran nuclear deal may destabilize this area too. And Hezbollah may get more firepower from Iran. So, this entire Lebanon is expected to go through doldrums because of the wider instability that is existing in West Asia and then a refugee crisis that it is facing from Yemen and Syria. Collective assertion. It is about collegium. Here there is one important point. So when collegium is recommending, let's take 2 or 3 judges, then government, it is selecting 1 or 2, keeping 1 aside. So this keeping of judges aside, so center holding back certain names, it has got one serious impact with regard to the judicial governance is concerned. This person, though he will be appointed if the court reiterates it, he will be appointed in the second batch. It means the first batch, these 2 judges will get seniority over this judge whose name is being held back. Because any promotion to be a member of collegium or to the Chief Justice of India is just based on seniority. So, loss of seniority is the major issue. And second, previously, when Mr. Gopala Subramanian was appointed as a judge of the Supreme Court, government withheld his appointment. I think at that point of time it has appointed Nariman. I don't remember that name exactly. So, but Gopal Subramanian's name was withheld. And he finally said he was not willing to become the chief, judge itself. And Mr. Lodha is on the foreign trip, who was the CJI then. The issue was solved because he withdrew. But today, Mr. Joseph, he stated that he wants to become the Supreme Court judge. And Collegium wants to reiterate it. So, Joseph, though he becomes the Justice of the Supreme Court, he will not become an equivalent or on the seniority basis, he will not be equivalent to Indu Malhotra, whose name was referred along with him. That's what is the issue which we need to focus upon. The change in terms of endearment. This article is about UP elections. Today you have a big state such as UP, a small state such as Sikkim. This makes the strength of the political voice different for different states. UP obviously has the greatest, strongest voice in Indian politics is concerned. No person without winning the UP cannot win the so-called prime minister position. So here, BJP's success to get the absolute majority in Lok Sabha can be attributed to its success in UP. Now, what the trick the BJP did? Previously, alignment is like this. Dalits are with BSP, OBCs are with SP, and then we have others, especially upper caste, is with BJP, and SP was able to align OBCs with minorities. Now BJP was able to exclude Jadavas with the caste which belongs to Mayawati ji. She has excluded that, and then it was able to consolidate other castes among the Dalits. The same thing, non-Yadava caste, it was able to consolidate them among the OBCs. It has made the BJP victorious. Remember one thing, one way caste identities are getting consolidated in India. So OBCs, SCs, STs, these groupings are becoming vociferous to make their demands. On the other side, there is another movement which is going on where subcaste identities are getting strengthened. So consolidation of the caste is going on one side, especially on the empowerment and social benefits are concerned. And with regard to political voting, there is division of the caste. Our subcaste identity is gaining significance in India. So that's what is tactically used by BJP over here. Today, the BJP is facing a bigger challenge. So caste and various forms of mobilization may help you till elections. But once the elections are over, it is about governance, it is about development. Failure to fulfill the aspirations of the development is putting the BJP on the back foot. And what the BJP sold in 2014 to the entire country, that is its model of development in Gujarat. Probably the same may not sell in 2019. And the very Gujarat, people have challenged the BJP out there. And second aspect, increased atrocities against Dalits. So this is again going to consolidate Dalit as one single group. So these are all going to be the challenges for the UP politics in the future for BJP. Kerala's development paradox. See, one state in India which we need to or else look from social dimension and various diversities of intellectuality, I'll say that is Kerala, the other is West Bengal. So in Kerala state, so initially social movements are being built. And the social movements, these are more about land redistribution, tenant rights, and this led to strong land reforms too. But the social movements have created a strong communist movement too. And that's why Communist Party was able to get into power for the first time in Kerala. And second thing which happened is various religious movements were also strong before these social movements have come in Kerala. Nair Service Society, and for Dalits you have Sri Narayana Guru, Dharma Paripalana, SNDP. These are all very strong in Kerala. So this growth of social movement has undermined these religious identities, and slowly class identities started developing over there. But this has dramatically changed after 1990s. With LPG era has come into existence, then migration from the Kerala has increased, out migration. And land has become more and more a commodity and a property or an asset rather than a livelihood. And inequalities and social divisions are also increasing. The gated communities are increasing. So the civil society which was strongly existing before 1990 slowly started degenerating. The individual spaces are strengthening at the cost of the community or collective spaces. That is what this article states. This trust in the time of false. So disinformation has become a major weapon for the political parties to campaign. So this disinformation, how it has to be faced. If you talk about Cambridge Analytica, it has targeted the people specifically through disinformation. It means this political campaigning is taking a new turn. Altogether a new turn. So here, how we shall face this particular information asymmetry created by this fake news. So fact check website, alt news, these are coming up. So, but their role is very limited. So today we are supposed to encourage evidence-based, data-based journalism. So this how it has to be brought in is a bigger question to the mainstream media. Customer rights. Insolvency bankruptcy code. Here under this, creditors are being divided into two types, financial and operational. For example, if I'm a bank and I gave loan to a company which has filed for insolvency, I come under the financial creditor. If I'm a vendor who supplied air conditioners to a particular company and then they did not pay my bill, I come an operational creditor. Then this company is in a real estate and it has sold the houses to the people paid their money and it did not deliver the houses to them. Where we have to fit in them is the question. That's where this talks about. Customer rights still a gray area in insolvency and bankruptcy code. And then OALP, Open Acreage Licensing Policy. So what does this mean? Previously we had HELP, Hydrocarbon Exploration and Licensing Policy. So we moved from HELP to Open Acreage Licensing Policy. What is the difference between these two? So in Open Acreage Licensing Policy, the first thing which we had is this. The revenue sharing, it is changed from a profit calculation to revenue calculation. So previously there were many issues in estimating the profits. Obviously private person used to show higher expenditure. Government people used to argue that and that matter would have been never settled. And second, let's take, government previously used to select a block and used to call for auction. Now it is not like that. Let's take, you liked a small block in somewhere. You can submit it to the government and government calls that block for auction. So if you are the only person who bidded for it, you will get that. And if there are other competitors, they can also participate and you need to outbid them. It means the selection of the blocks is no more by the government, it is by the interested private parties. And the second thing here, the third thing, let's take, you got this block. Previously, for shale gas, oil, and then anything, coal bed methane, you need to get separate licenses, separate permissions. Now it's a unified permission or unified license to explore any of the resource under it. So these are the three major changes from HELP to OALP that is being mentioned over here. So an inch forward but miles to go. This article specifically talks about the problems in Indian oil and gas sector. You know that international crude prices are rising, Indian current account deficit is going to become worse and soon. So obviously, India has to explore its reserves which are there in the country to decrease its oil burden, decrease its import bill burden. So what is India is doing it right is the question. So this is where the monopolization of the oil and natural gas companies is the major problem. So across the world, oil pipelines, gas pipelines, though are there in the public sector, they are allowed to be used by every company. In India, GAIL holds the gas supplies, gas pipelines, but there is no access or much access to the private sector that is making hindrance to further growth, that this article says. ISRO making green propellant. What is the propellant which was used? How the propellant has to be? It has to occupy less space and it has to generate huge thrust or energy per unit of burning. Occupy less space and give more energy. Have less weight, less space, but generate more energy per unit of mass. Then that fuel is said to be efficient fuel. In this case, the most commonly used fuel is hydrazine. This hydrogen is carcinogenic and corrosive. So corrosive means the vessel which occupies it has been eaten away by this particular fuel. Now we want to shift to clean fuel. What is its name? That is HAN, hydroxy, that is ammonium nitrate. Hydroxyammonium nitrate. So this has got higher density than the hydrazine. So because of this, its burning per unit of mass will be much higher. And second, it is non-carcinogenic. And also, it is monopropellant. It means it do not need oxidizer to push this. This is what ISRO making a green propellant talks about. Government regulators shall firm definition. What is a shell firm? It is not yet defined. Previously, you saw some articles stating that government has closed down 2 lakh shell firms. How can it happen without the definition of a shell firm? That's what is the doubt you need to get. A tightrope walk over China for Prime Minister. You know that. What are the issues for India with China will be? You know, border issue was there from long. But China inroads into Indian Ocean, that is going to be the major change. So, We are not going to fight on the heights of the Himalayas tomorrow, but we are going to fight in the depths of the Indian Ocean. So, the naval capacity of the China is growing. Already, China is along with US, UK and Russia to have an aircraft carrier indigenously designed. So it named it as Type 001A, it did not officially name it means. So it means that it has a plan to bring in more and more aircraft carriers. So the maritime, Indo-Pacific is going to be an area of contestation. That's why all the region countries which are against China, they are becoming a group that is called Quad group. You know, India, Australia, Japan, USA. So see, all this, what is the common thing? These are the countries in Indo-Pacific. Now, extension of this, we are going to get Indonesia, soon Vietnam, but this Duterte, that is Philippines president, is a bit cranky fellow. So if he is also there, Philippines. So these countries have problems with regard to China's presence in Indonesia too. So this Quad is soon, if my guess goes right, will be expanded to increase the presence of littoral states of Indian Ocean. And here, the second is there is engagement with China. Shanghai Cooperation Organization, India, Pakistan, Iran are members. Now, when we come to West Asia, so China has its looming presence in West Asia along with Iran. It has got a strong relationship which in India can be challenged over there. India's ambitions can be challenged over there. And in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, it is dominated by China and Russia. And it is famously called as Eastern NATO. So in this context, India, if plays any active role over here, probably it will be constructed as against the United States of America. So in this context, it's a tightrope walk for India with China. Next is release records of Shastri's death. Central Information Commission has clearly stated that the Shastri's death record, there was Raj Narayan committee which was appointed. This committee's recommendations or findings have to be revealed. That's what Central Information Commission has stated. Domestic Violence Act for divorced women too. So till now, Domestic Violence Act was applied even for the people who are in a relationship, though not married, and the people who are married. Today, Supreme Court has extended even to the divorced women. And here, violence has a much broader meaning. It is not just physical violence, it is also psychological violence. So in this context, this broadening of the definition of domestic violence and then increasing the number of the people who are covered is going to provide for a new protection to the women. Center plans ordinance on SC/ST Act. Now I'm going to deal this article in a different perspective. Indian Constitution is a contested space. And there is always a challenge between judicial supremacy and parliamentary sovereignty. Here, Supreme Court has given its judgment on SC/ST this law. So here, it has diluted the provisions related to anticipatory bail, and also there will be no immediate arrest without preliminary inquiry. So the matter went to agitations level. Finally, government wants to supersede the Supreme Court order with an ordinance. The next article, it is related to the urban storms. So in your disaster management, probably this can be a question to you. Urban storms, these dust storms, were always there in North India, but their frequency and this devastation has remarkably increased. What can be the reason for this? So try to have some understanding. I'm not an expert in this area, you work on this. And Karnataka 72% turnout is a record. You know, the specialized voter education program, I think voter education and electoral program, this was launched by the Election Commission of India for voter education. Obviously, this increase in turnout in India for the polls, that is an effort of this sweep program launched by Election Commission. Finally, notes is given to you that will be posted at lax.in/CivilsPrep. Thank you very much and all the best.